welcome back to the channel. Today we're here with Joey Costanzo of the Niagara Ice Dogs in the OHL. Our main topic today, we're going to be talking about what makes the best goalie in not only major juniors but also the NHL. So the first question is for Joey. How'd you kind of really get to start playing goalie? What got you into it?
Yeah. So I guess what got me into goalie is I started hockey really young. I started skating when I was about 2, 3 years old, maybe a little younger. And I just I don't know, I always had a passion for hockey. And then I guess what brought me to be a goalie is my first year of actual rep hockey, or maybe not rep hockey, just select hockey at the time, because I would have been like 5, 6 years old. My team was awful. I think we didn't win a game the whole year, and I think our final record was like 0-23, and we had one tie because the team kind of pitied us and gave us a tie. So I was like, our goalie at the time, who I'm still pretty good friends with, we kind of just put him in net because he didn't know how to skate. So we just figured, you don't need to move. So he just kind of sat there in the net, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll give it a try. So I just wanted to have more control over the game, because if you don't let any goals the whole game, you can't lose, sort of thing, right? So that kind of what started my interest, and ever since then, I just kept it going, and I loved it. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. My question is, uh, what led you to apply on the Toronto Marlboros, and why did you pick them? All the AAA teams that are up in your area.
Yeah, definitely. So the GTHL, it's not like any other league where you kind of have to play for your region or whatever. There's 12 pretty central teams in Toronto. So I played 3 years for the Toronto Titans, which was a great organization. I had a lot of fun there. And then I played 1 year with Marco Majors, also another great organization. Enjoyed my times there. And I guess what let me be the Marlies was just definitely the culture. All the guys who've come out of there, like the Tavareses, the Sagans, the McDavids, all those guys. I really enjoyed the culture. I loved, everybody wants to watch the Marlies, your minor midget year, your Bantam years. They're a big name. I had some friends going to the team. I knew they were going to be a good team, and I just felt it was going to be the best places for my development. They were really going to support me with training, all that fun stuff. So, I really enjoyed my time there. I had 3 good years there. 2 of them were shut down because of COVID, which sucked. But the 1 year there that we won, that was great. And then, you know, yeah, I really enjoyed those 3 years with them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So obviously you play in the OHL, a really good league. Is there one guy whose shot is like really hard to stop, like compared to the others?
I don't know if I could just pick out one. There's definitely a lot of guys around the league who could really shoot the puck. The guys that come to mind, Tyler Tullio, James Hardy, obviously guys like Mason McTavish, Will Cooley. I guess one guy's always stuck out to me, I guess, is Colby Barlow, just because, he's the same age as me, 16-year-old, but he could shoot the puck harder than anyone else in the league, really. I think this year he was voted top rookie shot and top 3 shot in the league, and he's only 16. So, growing up with Colby, he's a great guy, and I remember after every practice, he'd go over to one net, take 30 pucks, fire them off from the wing, like bumper on a power play sort of thing, and he would just do that every day. Like the amount of time he takes, and even in the off season when he asked me to come shoot, the amount of time he takes to work on his wrist shot, slap shot, snapshot, all that stuff. He really takes pride in his shot. He knows it's his biggest skill set, and I think a lot of those guys that really take their time with that. That's really where it comes into play, and those guys have massive shots.
Got it. Yeah, and speaking of off-season workouts, what do you do to better yourself out in the off-season?
Yeah, definitely. I think off season is you do a lot of on ice stuff during the year. So, this year I've kind of taken a different approach with it. I know most years I'd be on the ice 6 times a week, just doing straight ice stuff. I think this stuff, I think it's been more balanced this year with in the gym stuff. I think most years it was really just, I'd say 3 times a week in the gym, just working on goalie specific stuff. But this year, especially in the OHL where there's a big jump between, the guy, there's some guys that's in who 16 years old, just turned 16, they haven't necessarily even hit puberty yet, some of them, and then you have the 20-year-olds who have full beards, and it's cool to see that. And so it's really, and then of course my draft year also, so you want to prepare for the pros, so just trying to get on the same level of strength as those guys, or like preparing myself for that level. This year I've really taken a step up, I think, with my off ice training, and then of course, obviously, going on the ice a few times a week at least, working on the ice, really refining my game, trying to bring it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. And Max, one last question for you, and then I'll get one.
Yeah. So obviously, you the team you played for, you guys had a bunch of really good players on the team, including goaltenders. One of your goalies ate up 40 games. How was it like as a rookie to play in front of a goalie that played a bunch of games, put up pretty good numbers, and kind of like I guess helped you develop into a better goalie over the course of the season?
Yeah, at the start of the year, obviously, I had Tiger Tynan, Josh Rosenzweig, both really skilled, athletic, strong, fast goalies. Yeah, it was definitely tough at the start of the year. I think before Christmas, I only had 5 games played, and then I started getting more towards the end of the year. But like a big part of that process was like learning, watching their game, seeing what I could take away from it. As a rookie coming to the league, you don't really know what you're going to get necessarily. So, there's nothing really promised. So I think that really just like I kind of learned from them, uh, see what it was like, what works for them, what doesn't, what can I integrate into my game from them, and then of course I think it just made me more hungry. Obviously I wanted to play, coming from my age group where I was the first goalie drafted, playing a lot, stuff like that, and then not necessarily playing every night like I used to. It really made me hungry. To be the best, you need to beat the best first. So having two really skilled goalies like that, I think, really helped in my development. Obviously, still having Josh as a partner, who I'm going into next year with, is going to be fun. Me and him have developed a great relationship. So I think it's going to be really fun this year, and I think we really push each other. We try to make each other better every day, and I think that's really going to benefit us down the road and going into next season.
Yeah, definitely. Last question is in a Q&A. You said that in one sentence your coach would describe you as clutch. So why would you think that you would be described as clutch?
Yeah, I just excel in big moments. I always pride myself on that. Even when I'm in practice, I try to envision like a shootout or something. Like I'm very, very ultra competitive, and I think when I'm in those situations, I perform best. So I guess that's why I would say something like that.
Got it. Yeah. So now we're gonna go into kind of our main part of the interview, where we're gonna talk about what makes the best goalie in major juniors. And the major juniors have produced a lot of great goalies. This past 2022 draft didn't have the greatest crop, but before that, there were some great guys like Sebastian Cossa out in Edmonton, and a bunch of guys like that. So, Joey, what do you think makes like the best goalie in major juniors, and how can they translate their skills into the pros?
Yeah, I think overall goalies, they tend to mature a little later than players, and I think major junior is definitely a hard game to play for a goalie, just because you see a lot of scores in the OHL. Like it's nothing crazy when it's a 7-6 game. They happen almost every night in the O. So I think the biggest thing for goaltenders playing a major junior to get to the next level is, I think, just reading the play. It's OHL especially is a big cross crease league. You'll see a lot of rushes. It's a lot of speed. It's a lot of heavy shots. It's not like the old days where it's like 6, 7 guys just banging it out anymore. It's a lot of speed. So like every major junior goalie has a lot of skill and they're really fast. But can you make the right read? Read the release of the player, stay calm, hold your net, know where you are. I think that was a big thing that I had to learn quick in the league. Because I'd make a lot of good first saves just using my raw talent, but you really have to get back, like look where the rebound is, like be aware of where everybody is on the ice. You really gotta like make like notes in your head mid game saying, okay, where's this guy? You need to, it's a lot of film also. It's like you need to know players' tendencies, things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I'd say the main thing is definitely play reads, and reading the play.
Yeah, definitely. Max, what would you say as a goalie in Jersey? What would you think is like the biggest? What do you think like a goalie in Jersey would need to be the most successful?
Yeah, I agree with what Joey said. I think it's definitely reading kind of plays. I mean, in my league, it's not again as fast as the OHL, but it's definitely, a lot of you got to kind of know where the puck's going to be and read a 3-on-2 before it even enters the zone. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what he said. And so, Joey, is my question. So you were a rookie last year. What would you say is the most important thing for a rookie to kind of focus on the first year to like kind of get themselves more comfortable for the next couple of years in the OHL?
Yeah, definitely a good question. I don't know if there's just one specific thing you could really tell a rookie and like you'd say, okay, I'll go do it, because you don't really know what you never know what you're gonna get your rookie season. So I guess for me, the biggest thing is just learn. Look, learn, take a deep breath. It's a tough league, but if you put your best foot forward by just learning, taking it in, reading stuff, but don't getting ahead of yourself, kind of thing. I think that's the biggest thing. Is really, like if you come into the league like kind of expecting stuff, like a lot of the times you're not going to get it, no matter how good you are. Obviously there are definitely a lot of rookies in the league. You guys have guys like Cam Allen, Braden Yeager out west, guys like that. Obviously they're really good players, but there's a learning process for every single one of those guys, and you just got to love the journey, love the grind, and really, come out every day, put your best foot forward, learn from the guys ahead of you, and just try to take over every day.
Yeah, that's really good. And I guess for yourself, like, who do you model yourself after? Could be a pro goalie, could be a goalie coach, could be a current goalie playing juniors. But who do you model yourself after? And why do you think that they can? And why do you think that they are like a really good example of what a goalie is?
Yeah, I think it's definitely changed over the years. If you asked me a year ago, I'd probably say guys like Andrei Vasilevsky, Marc-Andre Fleury, guys who had really excelled in the NHL over a long period of time. Obviously, Vas, known as, one of, if not the best goalies in the league right now. And obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury's had a great career, won the Vezina a year or two ago. And now, I think I'd say through this season, two guys I probably watched the most are guys like UC Saros and Thatcher Demko. I remember a lot of nights coming home from games, whether I played or not, like before I went to bed, I'd have something to eat and I just turn on the game. And, by then, usually the East Coast games are done. So all the Atlantic, all those teams, like growing up, like watching those games, but I didn't really get a chance to watch them because my games were at that time. So really, I'd watch the West Coast teams because obviously the time change. And, you'd get a lot of Vancouver Canucks games. So a team I really watched a lot was them. And watching Thatcher Demko, who I didn't honestly like his first couple years in the league, I didn't really think that highly of him. But watching him now, like watching how smooth he is, how calm he is, how well he skate, like how good his skating is, I was like, wow, man, like this guy can really play. So like just watching him, I really tried this year. I watched a lot of film on him. By literally just turning on TV and watching, also like looking up clips, stuff like that on him. He's a really strong skater down low. He's really good on his feet. I like the other day I saw a video on just an Instagram reel of him and his goalie coach training. Like, wow, like he's a true professional in the crease. So I watched a lot of him. I really liked him. And another guy, obviously, UC Saros. He's just a really fun guy to watch. Obviously, he's been an all-star a couple times in his career. Still pretty young. He's had a good start of his career with Nashville. He was behind Pecorine for a while. Really learned from him. They did have similar games for a long time. He's just quick, athletic. He's a smaller goalie, but he really comes out. He challenges shooters. He's really aggressive, which is something I really like, and is something that's needed in a goalie in the NHL. So, those two guys I really modeled my game after this year more than anyone, I think.
Yeah, I saw the clip of Thatcher Demko and the goalie coach, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was a really good example of just how he can be really mobile inside the crease, and he was doing this complex thing in the butterfly where he could move just by moving his knees.
Yeah.
I don't know what his goalie coach was doing there.
Knee shuffles. It's the next big thing in goaltending, I guess. I don't know. I've never tried it yet, but I've seen it. It looks cool.
It's like a 20-minute video on YouTube. I was watching the same Demko clip. It's crazy how fast he moves.
Yeah, he's a really mobile goalie. Same with Saros. And I think that's like the biggest thing in the NHL now, just because the passes are getting so much harder in terms of how quick they are, and the players are getting so much smarter and knowing how to receive a quick pass. And especially when it's cross crease, you need to be really mobile. You need to know exactly where to go. And that's the same thing in the OHL. I follow personally a lot of junior hockey, and all the guys in the OHL, they're super quick, and all you see are just the highlights, and it's mostly Antonio Strange doing highlights. But apart from that, it's just really quick motions and things that the goalie can't read in time. So I guess being there to read, being in position to read the play in time is definitely important. What do you think about that, Joey?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously a big part of that. Those two guys, their skating is elite, and it's helped them get to the level they've gotten to. Their mobility is just insane. You watch, he's UC Saros is what, 5'10", but when he goes into splits, he can cover 7-8 feet along the ice. It's crazy what these guys can do at that level.
Yeah, one goalie that I think is a lot like that. I don't think in height, since he's a bit taller, but Igor Shesterkin. I say that just because I'm a Rangers fan, but Igor Shesterkin definitely. He may not be the quickest, but he can cover so much area, and he's not even the tallest. You see guys like Ben Bishop when he played, he was 6'7", 6'8". He could cover the entire net, but Igor Shesterkin's 6 foot, 6'1" maybe. Max, what do you think? 6'1", 6'2"?
I think he's a little bit taller, 6'2", 6'3" maybe.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Anyways, it just the way that he can get across and make all those saves is it's really good. And I mean, he won the Vezina because he can do things that most goalies can't. And I think it's also just because he's such a quick goalie. And I see a lot of it. Just in 1 second, he's down in the butterfly. And it's something that's really cool to watch. I think goalies should definitely be taking notes. And I have a lot of friends in Jersey who are goalies, and they always say that they're watching either Shesterkin or, like you say, Saros or Demko, just because they're definitely the quickest goalies around. So, yeah, Max, what you got?
Yeah, so while we're on the topic of height, I think Joey, I don't know for sure. I saw it a couple different places. You're either 6 foot, 6'1", something like that. I'm 5'8", so I'd love to be 6 foot. But how big of a factor do you think height plays into goaltending? And personally, in my opinion, I think short goalies could do just what tall goalies can do. But from your experience in the OHL, does height really have an impact in how a goalie makes saves?
Yeah, I growing up, I think I used to be a big believer in taller goalies, but now looking at the league, I don't think there's as much emphasis on height as there used to be. I think there's still that stereotype is where, a lot of guys would rather take a tall goalie over a shorter goalie, which is in a way understandable, but does it necessarily pertain to skill? I don't think so. There's definitely, the new wave of goalies, like you said, Shesterkin, Sardos, these guys, they're only 5'10" to 6'1" in that range, which is, I guess, considered 6'1", 6 feet. I guess it would be considered medium, but anything lower than that, you're still getting those guys in the league. So, there's still I think I'd take a fast, strong, flexible goalie who can play aggressive more than a bigger, clumsy guy any day of the week. Obviously there are big guys in the league like that. I know Demko, he's 6'3", 6'4", I don't necessarily have that height, but it'd be good to have, obviously. And then you see other guys like that, Robin Leonard, those guys, whose game isn't necessarily as smooth or as refined, but they could just make saves with their frame, right? So I guess it looks better because you're bigger, right? But at the end of the day, does it really pertain to skill? I don't think so. So does it make that much of a difference? No, according to me, but other guys may say different. Yeah, but for me personally, I wouldn't say it doesn't make the biggest difference, but is it an attribute? Is it a good thing to be 6'3"? Of course. But does it pertain to skill? I'd say no.
Yeah, what you said, it reminded me of the 2021 NHL draft between Sebastian Cossa and Jesper Wallstedt. Wallstedt's around your height. I think I'd say 6 foot or 6 foot. and around 180, but Kosa is like 6'6", like 205 or something. Like he's a really big guy, and Wallstat I'd say is still the better goalie, just because I saw a lot of clips of him and he's a really quick guy. But Kosa just made all the saves because he's 6'6" and he can cover everything, and his stats are also padded because the Edmonton Oil Kings just wouldn't lose in his draft year. Like he had like a 1.3 goals against average or something like that, like something nuts. But yeah, I still say, like you said, the scouts may still lean towards the bigger goalie, but it's the one that can make the saves and be the quickest is I think the best one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more considered I think it should be more considered like a tiebreaker more than, like a goalie's biggest attribute. Like you said, Kosa, Wallstedt, they're both amazing goalies. You could really say one's better than the other, but, was that in the back of the mind or of, I guess, Detroit where, he has 4 inches on the other? Can that come into play while making like a stretch save or a split save? And yeah, maybe, but I think it should really be used like a tiebreaker more so than a hit or miss sort of thing where we're not going to draft the goalie who's under 6'2" sort of thing, right? So, yeah, like that's kind of my stance on it. But yeah, of course, I wish I was 6'5", and will I ever get there? God knows. But like, yeah,
got it.
I know Cole Caulfield grew like 2 inches last year, and he's like 19 or something. So I think there's always time. But
yeah, definitely, there's time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had a coach who was around 5'2" going into high school, and then senior year he grew 14 inches. Like he had a major growth spurt, and he's now 6'4", and it was something nuts like that, and it can show just anything can happen. Human bodies, it's weird that way, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it for us for today. Joey, thank you so much for coming on for 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I had lots of fun.
Of course. And please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It means a lot to us.